Something fundamental is shifting in California's energy landscape, and it's happening at a pace that has caught even the most seasoned state officials off guard. Across the Golden State, fuel stations aren't just hitting a rough patch, they are closing their doors for good. This isn't about temporary shortages or routine maintenance. We are witnessing a wave of permanent shutdowns. The reasons behind this exodus reveal a deep-seated friction between California's ambitious policy goals and the cold, hard reality of its fuel supply chain. I'm Andrew Kay, and today we are examining why gas stations across the state are disappearing, what this means for the millions of drivers paying record prices at the pump, and why the state's leadership seems remarkably unprepared for a crisis that has been years in the making: the energy island phenomenon. To understand the crisis of 2026, we first have to understand the unique, almost isolated nature of California's fuel market. Unlike almost any other American state, California functions as what energy analysts call an isolated fuel island. Geography and policy have created a fortress. There are virtually no interstate pipelines bringing gasoline from the massive refining hubs in the Gulf Coast or the Midwest. Because of the Sierra Nevada mountains and strict federal regulations, nearly every drop of gasoline consumed in California must either be produced within its own borders or delivered by expensive ocean-going tankers. But there is an even more restrictive layer. The CARB mandate, the California Air Resources Board, requires a highly specific boutique gasoline formula designed to reduce emissions. While this blend is cleaner, it is also incredibly complex and expensive to manufacture. Only a handful of refineries worldwide are even capable of producing it. This means that when a supply disruption hits, California cannot simply import help from neighboring states. We are, quite literally, on our own. The refinery exodus. The math here is simple, but the consequences are dire. 2 decades ago, California was home to more than 30 active oil refineries. By 2010, that number began to slide. By 2020, we were down to 20. Today, after a series of closures, conversions, and output reductions, the state is left with roughly 15 active refineries producing gasoline. Just in the last few years, we've seen a massive loss in refining capacity. Take the Marathon Refinery in Martinez. It stopped producing gasoline entirely to shift toward renewable diesel. Phillips 66 made a similar move at its Rodeo facility. Each of these transitions was hailed by the state as environmental progress, a victory for the green transition. But here is the data point that often gets omitted in the press releases. California still consumes between 13 and 15 billion gallons of gasoline every single year. Demand hasn't disappeared, only the local supply has. When you remove local capacity while demand remains steady, you create a structural dependency on global markets that is both volatile and expensive. Fragility by design. Initially, the system tried to adapt. We saw a surge in imports from South Korea, Singapore, and the Middle East. Huge tankers became a common sight at California's docks. Prices rose, but the increases were gradual enough for the public to ignore. Then, the cracks began to widen. Throughout 2024 and 2025, the system reached its breaking point. Multiple aging refineries experienced unplanned shutdowns, equipment failures, and fires. These weren't deliberate acts of sabotage. They were the predictable results of aging facilities forced to operate under increasingly hostile regulatory environments and razor-thin profit margins. In a balanced market, one refinery going offline is a minor blip. In California's tight market, it's a catastrophe. Wholesale prices jump almost instantly. Why? Because there is zero margin for error. This is basic market economics. When supply is constrained and demand is inelastic, even a minor hiccup triggers a massive price spike. The death of the local station. This brings us to the front lines of the crisis, the individual gas station owner. Most people assume gas stations make a fortune when prices are high. The reality is the exact opposite. Most fuel retailers operate on incredibly thin margins, often making just a few cents per gallon after credit card fees and taxes. Their entire business model relies on high volume and convenience store sales. When wholesale prices become volatile and unpredictable, these small business owners face a lethal choice: raise prices immediately and lose customers, or hold prices steady and sell fuel at a net loss. In rural communities and lower-income urban neighborhoods, station owners simply don't have the capital reserves to survive this volatility. So, they close. And they don't close for a week. They close forever. Over the past year, industry associations have been screaming for help, warning that compliance costs and price volatility are making it financially impossible to stay in business. Those warnings were dismissed as industry lobbying. Now, the empty lots and boarded-up windows are proving them right. The political disconnect. The response from state leadership has been one of visible frustration, but little tactical utility. We've seen the governor publicly attack oil companies, distributors, and station operators. We've heard calls for price caps, windfall profit taxes, and emergency interventions. But here's the fundamental truth: regulation cannot manufacture supply where none exists. You can threaten penalties and hold as many televised hearings as you want, but none of that produces a single additional gallon of CARB-grade gasoline. In fact, these measures often accelerate the crisis. When the political risk becomes too high, companies don't just behave, they exit. They stop investing in maintenance, they cancel expansion plans, and they eventually leave the market entirely. We are witnessing a market exit in real time. The global risk factor. By shrinking our domestic refining capacity, we have outsourced our energy security to the most volatile regions of the world. California is now dependent on fuel that must travel thousands of miles across the Pacific, on ships burning heavy fuel oil. A storm in the South China Sea, a refinery glitch in Seoul, or a geopolitical flare-up in the Middle East now directly dictates what a teacher in Fresno or a contractor in San Diego pays to get to work. According to recent energy data, California now imports up to 400,000 barrels per day during peak demand. This is not energy independence, it is a strategic vulnerability. The true cost to the people. What does this mean for the average Californian? In 2025, drivers here paid nearly $2 more per gallon than the national average. For a typical household, that's an invisible tax of $600 to $1,000 every year just to exist. But it's worse for small businesses. Delivery services, contractors, and truckers can't just absorb these costs. They pass them on. This is why your groceries are more expensive. This is why your home repairs cost more. High fuel prices are a regressive tax that hits the poorest members of society the hardest. The point of no return. We are approaching what I call the infrastructure cliff. Once a refinery is dismantled, it is gone forever. The permits expire, the specialized labor force moves away, and the billions of dollars required to restart simply won't return in this political climate. The same applies to gas stations. When a station closes, the underground tanks are pulled, the soil is remediated, and the land is usually turned into condos or fast food joints. That fueling infrastructure is permanently erased. There is a glaring contradiction at the heart of California's policy. The state is aggressively pushing for an all-electric future, which is a legitimate long-term goal. However, millions of people still rely on internal combustion engines today and will for the next 2 decades. You cannot manage a transition by sabotaging the current system before the new one is ready to carry the load. Conclusion: policy versus chief. Reality: California is operating with the tightest fuel supply margins in the developed world. We have built a system that is structurally guaranteed to be volatile. The governor's frustration isn't with the greed of companies, it's with the fact that reality is finally colliding with his policy expectations. You cannot claim to protect citizens from high prices while overseeing a system that ensures they will happen. Energy transitions require realistic timelines, backup capacity, and massive coordination. You cannot simply cut off the supply and hope the demand follows suit overnight. As California goes, so goes the nation. Other Western states like Arizona and Nevada, which rely on California's refineries, are watching this train wreck with growing concern. This is a cautionary tale of what happens when energy policy and physical reality diverge. I'm Andrew Kay. I want to hear from you, especially those of you in California. Have you noticed your local stations closing? What are you paying at the pump today? Let's get the discussion started in the comments below. If you found this deep dive analysis valuable, please like the video and subscribe. We don't just look at the headlines, we look at the data that shapes your world. Thank you for watching.